This video is about spotting a business opportunity, and that's the first unit of the Edexcel Business Studies GCSE course. We will cover understanding customer needs, market mapping, analysing competitors, adding value and options for starting up a business. The best place to check the content is on the official Edexcel specification, which you can find on the internet. But these are the main headings. The first step to creating a business is spotting an opportunity. To know if there's a business opportunity, you need to know what your customer actually needs and wants. These can actually change over time. So the first mobile phones could just about fit into a car. They had a huge battery pack and didn't last very long. But actually, at the time, customers were happy with this. They were suitable for customer needs at that time. Now, of course, needs and wants have changed, things have moved on, and to find out what people actually want, well, you'd probably have to ask them. So in order to ask people about what they want from a product, if it's a brand new product category that people haven't seen before, you'd probably have to invent it first. You'd have to look at it and find if it matches the needs and wants of potential customers. So customers of everyday products actually have wants and needs. If you think of the purchase of something like bread, it has different criteria to that of a mobile phone. If you meet someone's wants and needs for bread, they're likely to become a repeat purchaser and keep buying the same brand and the same product over and over. And when they start coming back time and time again, then you've probably got a successful business. Mobile phones are more of a one-off purchase, and you can have repeat purchase, but obviously it's over a longer stretch of time, so you have different types of products. You need to understand your customers' wants and needs in order to meet them, which would mean having a successful business. To do this, you might need to do some secondary research. You'd look on the internet. You'd find research that people have already done. You'd find out what people are selling. You'd find out what people say about your market area. However, this market research might not actually completely meet your needs. It might be out of date. It might not be quite the right type of data. So you can create your own research. This is primary research. You get out there, you ask people yourself. You might observe things. You might see how people behave. Or you might undertake some surveys. So you could take some surveys to get quantitative data. So you could create pie charts and graphs of your data. You'd have to ask some specific questions. So you can work out how many people in your local area would like a new sweet shop, how many people would buy a mobile phone that's under the price of £100. That's quantitative. There's another type of research, and that's, research data, which is qualitative. So you could ask open questions. So how do you feel about having a sweet shop next door to this school? How would you feel about having a mobile phone that has a 3D screen? It's not as easy to put that into a graph, but it can tell you some really interesting information and gives you some idea if your business is likely to succeed. Analysing competitors, it's about finding out if there's a market niche that you can fulfill, if there's space for you within the market. If there is a niche, you could then fill the niche, and if you can meet customer needs, then you can have a successful product and potentially repeat purchase, which is customers coming back, which is often a good idea because it means they're happy with your product and they want to see it time and time again and will keep buying your product. So a market map can help identify niches in the market. This particular one is incomplete. It compares quality and price of some chocolate bars. So it's not the entire market here, it's just a few to give you an idea. However, it's quite a basic model. It only compares two factors, quality and price. But you can see from these products whether there's a clustering, whether there are many high quality, high priced chocolates already on the market. So if you wanted to launch such a product, is it likely to be able to sell? Adding value to a product can really be taken to the extreme. People have actually taken air, and air of course is free, and then they've developed that, they've put it in a bottle and then sold it. So obviously the bottle costs some money to develop and to compress the air into it, but 3 litres of air is sold for around £20 by this organisation, this company. It's much more than the price of the inputs. So the added value is taking the air from somewhere in the world and selling it in another part of the world, say China. And this is called added value. Added value means people are prepared to pay a higher price. So whichever business you have to ask what value you're adding. A common way to add value is through packaging, or perhaps adding something special to a product. It could even be the location. To create a business, perhaps just buy some iPhone cables from Poundland, and then you could sell them on the internet for double the price, £2. The value is actually added from the location you're selling the product at. Having it in Poundland means you have to walk directly to a store and buy it. Having it on the internet means you can ship it potentially worldwide, and people may be willing to pay a higher price for that. And here are some ideas about how you could add value to water. And water again is quite a low priced product, but you can add value to it and people will perhaps spend more. So here's some options for setting up a business. This is just an overview, so there are in-depth advantages and disadvantages for these business types, which you do need to understand for the exam. A sole trader is a common way of setting up a business. There's not much paperwork to do it, but you should remember it's not just one person, as in one person owns the business, but they can employ other people. So it's quite a flexible business type. However, if the business doesn't pay their bills, the owner has to do that. So ultimately, if a business fails and can't pay their bills, then the creditors, the people you owe money to, can actually come and take your car or your house. This is called unlimited liability. So for smaller businesses, sole trading might make sense because it's quite easy to set up. But as you get bigger, you might be concerned if the business fails, you'll lose everything. And a variation on that is a partnership. In principle, it's similar to sole trading, but you have more than one person. So you can have greater skills from each person who are within the business. And they can also bring their own finance within the business. And I think banks would be happier to lend money to a partnership rather than a single owner in the form of a sole trader. A limited company have shares, but because they're limited, it's limited liability. So if the business fails, they can't pay their bills, it's limited to the amount of money that the shareholders put in. So we have shares, we sell them to people, probably our friends, probably our colleagues, and then the business is run and there's limited liability, and you can only lose the value of the money that you invested buying the shares. And a variation on that is a public limited company where the shares are listed on the stock market, so anyone can buy those shares. And yet it's also limited liability. So when you buy a public limited company, you might buy a share in a bank, in a car company. If the company fails, then you can only lose that money invested through the share. The last one we'll cover today is franchising. A franchisor sells a license to use their brand. One of the most famous franchisors are McDonald's. So they sell the idea, the brand, perhaps where to get the products from, to a franchisee. And a franchisee could be a different type of business. So McDonald's, a single branch of McDonald's is often a limited company, or could be a partnership. And they buy the license from the franchisor, and so it looks like a McDonald's. They're trained how to be a McDonald's, how their staff should behave, but also they have to pay fees for using the McDonald's brand, a license for it. And they even have to pay back some of their profits back to McDonald's. So it's not an easy way of creating a business and making a lot of money. However, you're using an existing model. If there's a gap in the market for a McDonald's at a certain town, probably an entrepreneur will think, if we set up a McDonald's franchise, we could be successful. And franchising really allows businesses to be in lots of places and to exploit their market niche.